Hello students, welcome to my class on sex-linked inheritance with usual amount of discussion on inheritance of hemophilia and color blindness. Then we shall discuss some genetic disorders, Thalassemia, Down syndrome, Turner syndrome and Klinefelter syndrome. Before going to discuss about sex-linked inheritance, we should know what is linkage. Linkage means link or friendship or association. Here it is the tendency of genes present on the same chromosome to remain together and inherit togetherly to the offsprings. This phenomenon is called linkage. Now question comes, what is sex-linked inheritance? As we discussed earlier, chromosomes are of two types, that is autosomes and sex chromosomes. These chromosomes are of two types, autosomes and sex chromosomes. These autosomes carry genes for somatic characters. They are not responsible for sex of the individual, but the sex chromosomes carry genes for determination of sex and also sex-linked traits. These sex chromosomes are of two types, X chromosome and Y chromosome. This X chromosome was discovered by Hankins and he called it as X body. The Y chromosome is the smallest chromosome of our body with least number of genes. And is the sex determining chromosome. In many species, right? Now just imagine, the Y chromosome is restricted to male sex only, but the X chromosome is larger than the Y chromosome and present in both the sexes. What is the reason behind it? This X chromosome carries genes for sex related traits and also other body characters, right? So most of the sex linked traits are X linked traits. Sex linked traits are X linked traits. Now we shall discuss what are actually sex-linked traits. The genes located on the sex chromosome are called sex-linked genes. The characters they govern are called sex-linked characters, and the mode of inheritance is known as sex-linked inheritance. This sex-linked inheritance was discovered by T.H. Morgan after his experiment on Drosophila melanogaster. You know the T.H. Morgan, who is regarded as father of experimental genetics. He has carried out number of experiments on Drosophila melanogaster fruit fly. That's why the Morgan is popularly known as fly man. You see the Morgan's experiment, he crossed a red-eyed female with a white-eyed male and found that all F1 offsprings were red-eyed. When these F1 offsprings were allowed free mating in the F2 generation, red and white-eyed individuals were appeared in the ratio 3:1. You may say, what is new in this experiment? Because here the normal Mendelian ratio 3:1. In case of pea plant, we take tall plant and cross it with a dwarf plant. all F1 offsprings are tall. When the tall plants are self-crossed, the tall and dwarf plants appeared in the F2 generation 3:1. No, this is not normal Mendelian ratio. You see what happens here in the F2 generation. All females are red-eyed, and among males 50% males are red-eyed and rest 50% white-eyed. So, the result was obtained on the basis of sex. So, no doubt it is a sex linked trait. You must say the sex linked traits do not give same result in reciprocal crosses, right. You see the cross 2. In the second cross, he crossed white-eyed female with red-eyed male and found that 50% of one offsprings were red-eyed and rest 50% white-eyed. When these F1 offsprings were allowed pre-mating in the F2 generation, he also found that 50% offsprings are red-eyed and 50% offsprings are white-eyed. Such difference in these two crosses is because of these are sex-linked traits, right? Any doubt? And Morgan concluded that the gene responsible for red eye color in Drosophila is located on the X chromosome, and it is a dominant gene as it expresses in both homozygous and heterozygous condition, right. Now, we shall discuss some sex linked traits in case of human being. You know, in case of human being, the sex linked traits are X linked, Y linked or XY linked. Number of sex linked traits are there: hemophilia, color blindness, etc. The X linked traits may be dominant, may be recessive. Mostly the X linked traits are recessive in nature. Okay. Now, we shall discuss some characteristics of X linked recessive traits. Genes for these traits are recessive and located on X chromosome. Okay. Never passed from father to son, because the son does not receive X chromosome from the father, son receives Y chromosome from the father. So, this X linked trait is not inherited from father to son. Males are never carriers. If that mutated gene is present, then the male is affected. If the mutated gene is absent, then the male is normal. The females may be carriers may be affected. Suppose example of color blindness, if it is a X linked recessive trait, XX carrier female, XA color blind female. So, the females may be carrier, may be affected, right. This trait is more common in males than females. Any type of X linked recessive trait may say color blindness, hemophilia, etc. These are more common in case of males than females. Any doubt? Now we shall discuss an important X-linked recessive trait, that is hemophilia. Okay? Or that is also called bleeder's disease. This hemophilia is an inherited bleeding disorder due to deficiency of clotting factors. The hemophilia is also popularly known as Rayleigh disease, as the Queen Victoria of England was carrier of this disease, right? She passed the harmful recessive gene to her sons and daughters, and you know, the son of Queen Victoria, Leopold, died because of hemophilia at the age of 30, right? And that gene, the some of her daughters are also carriers. After marrying into royal families of Europe, that gene was spread to, or that disease was spread to Russia, Spain and Germany. Okay? The pedigree of hemophilia in royal family of Europe was described by Halden. The hemophilia is of three types, that is hemophilia A, hemophilia B and hemophilia C. The hemophilia A is due to deficiency of clotting factor V3. The hemophilia B is due to deficiency of clotting factor IX, and the hemophilia C is due to deficiency of clotting factor XI. But the most common type of hemophilia is hemophilia A, which is due to deficiency of clotting factor V3. Okay? Let's discuss inheritance of this X-linked recessive trait hemophilia in case of human being. First, we should write the possible genotypes of male and female. For example, XX, XX, hemophilic female, XXX, carrier female, XX, normal female. Similarly, the XHY, hemophilic male, and XY, normal male. Okay? Let's take reciprocal crosses. First, hemophilic female with normal male. XHX, H, XY, XHX carrier female, XHY that is hemophilic male. Another cross, normal female with hemophilic male, XX, XHY, XHX, XY. Here the females are carriers like this cross. But what is about these males? Here the males are hemophilic, but here the males are normal. Okay? Okay, students, we have observed here that in two crosses, the reciprocal crosses don't give the same result because that is X-linked recessive trait. Let us see the next cross. This is the marriage between normal male and carrier female, XY, XHX, XHX, XX, XHY, XY, hemophilic, son. Now the question comes, what percentage of sons are hemophilic, what percentage of daughters are hemophilic, what percentage of offspring are hemophilic. Here you see out of 2, one son is hemophilic in nature, son hemophilic 50%, daughter, one daughter is carrier, another daughter is normal. So, daughter hemophilic 0%, children hemophilic out of 4, only this one is hemophilic in nature. So, children hemophilic, that is 25%. Are you getting it? Okay, fine. Okay, students, let us discuss another example of X-linked recessive trait, that is color blindness. This color blindness is also known as color vision deficiency, is a condition where our eyes face problem in distinguishing different shades of colors. You know, the retina of our eye contains 2 types of photosensitive cells, that is rods and cones. Rods are responsible for black and white vision and the cones are responsible for color vision. The retina of our eye contains 3 different type of cone cells, erythrolobes, chlorolobes and cyanolobes. Erythrolobes are sensitive to red color, chlorolobes are sensitive to green color and cyanolobes are sensitive to blue color. So, now the question arises, how can we see the white color? When these erythrolobes, chlorolobes and cyanolobes are stimulated equally, then a sensation of white color is produced. Am I right? The genes for this color blindness red color and green color are located on the X chromosome. The most common type of color blindness is red-green color blindness. The pedigree of color blindness was described by Herner. Let us see the inheritance pattern of this X-linked recessive trait color blindness. You see the crosses. The inheritance pattern is like that of hemophilia. XX normal female, XCX carrier female, XCXA colorblind female, XY normal male, XCY colorblind male. So, first cross colorblind female with normal male. You know, the daughters are carriers and the sons are colorblind. The reciprocal cross normal female with colorblind male. Here the daughters are also carriers, but the sons are normal. In first case, the sons are colorblind, but in the second case, the sons are normal, because it is X-linked recessive trait and do not give same result in reciprocal crosses. Okay? Then see the next cross, cross 3, that is the marriage between colorblind male and carrier female. It produces colorblind daughters, carrier daughters, colorblind sons and normal sons, right? And see the last cross, that is the colorblind female and colorblind male. Here the male is colorblind, female is colorblind. So, it produces sons and daughters, all are colorblind. Now, let us discuss the Y-linked inheritance. Here the sex-linked genes are located on the Y chromosome, and you know that in case of female the Y chromosome is absent, in case of male only one Y chromosome is there. That is why the gene is present only in hemizygous condition. Okay? You know, when a pair of similar alleles are present, called homozygous, a pair of dissimilar alleles are present, heterozygous, and only one member of the allele pair present, that is called hemizygous condition, right? We shall take an example of Y-linked trait, that is hypertrichosis. Excessive hairs on the pinna, right? This character is inherited from father to son to grandson, because the father gives Y chromosome to son and son gives Y chromosome to grandson. Here you see the pattern XY, father, mother, son, grandson. The character is inherited from father to son and from son to grandson. Since this character is inherited from male to male sex only, this trait is known as, or the gene is called Hollandric. From male to male sex only, right? Now we shall discuss sex influenced traits and sex limited traits. What are sex influenced traits? Whether they are sex linked or not. Sex influenced traits are not sex linked. Then sex influenced traits are autosomal traits. These are also called sex differentiated traits. which are not sex linked, it means they are autosomal. These are present in both the sexes. Expressed in both the sexes. But why it is called sex influenced? Because its expression is influenced by sex of the individual. Okay? Example, a kind of pattern baldness. Gene or genotype, the dominant gene capital B responsible for pattern baldness, right? Capital B, males are bald, females are also bald. Small b, males are non-bald, females are non-bald. But capital B, small b, males are bald, but females are non-bald. So in case of male, it expresses in both homozygous and heterozygous condition. But in case of female, it expresses only in homozygous condition, not in heterozygous condition. Why? Because it is influenced by sex of the individual. So this gene behaves as a dominant gene in case of male, hence expresses in both homozygous and heterozygous condition, but behaves as a recessive gene in case of female, hence expresses only in homozygous condition, right? Any doubt? Then the next trait, the sex limited trait. What is about the sex limited traits? Sex limited traits are also not sex linked. Not sex linked means they are autosomal. They are present in both the sexes. But their expression is limited or confined or restricted to one sex only. For example, the gene for milk production is present in cows and bulls, but their expression is limited to female sex only. Hence, cows only produce the milk, not the bulls, right? Am I able to explain you clearly at this point of time? Okay, fine. Now let's do some exercise. The sex linkage was discovered by, who discovered sex linkage? Linkage was discovered by Batson and Punnett, but the sex linkage was discovered by T.H. Morgan, father of experimental genetics, popularly known as flyman, right? Then the next question, which disease is known as Royal's disease? You know, the hemophilia or the bleeders disease is known as Royal's disease, as the Queen Victoria of England was carrier of this disease. Then the next question, genes for sex-linked traits are mostly located on which chromosome? Answer is X chromosome. Most of the sex-linked traits are X-linked recessive traits, right. Now, the next question, which trait shows criss-cross pattern of inheritance? The X-linked recessive traits like color blindness, hemophilia, etc. So, criss-cross pattern of inheritance. What is criss-cross pattern of inheritance? It means transfer of characters from parents to grandchildren of the same sex through offsprings of opposite sex, right. Okay. Let us see when the character is transferred from father to grandson through daughter. This means this character is inherited from father to grandson through daughter, transfer of characters from parent to grandchild of the same sex through offspring of opposite sex, right. Any doubt? Then the next question we shall discuss, hemophilia A is due to deficiency of clotting factor dash due to 8th clotting factor or V third I. Hemophilia B is due to deficiency of IX, hemophilia C is due to deficiency of XI. Gene for red green color blindness is located on which chromosome? That is X chromosome. Okay. Now, the pedigree of a hemophilia in royal family of Europe was discovered by Halden. Gene for hypertrichosis, excessive hairs on the pinna, located on Y chromosome. Genes located on Y chromosome are called Hollandric genes. The traits which are transferred from male to male sex only are located on Y chromosome. Transfer of characters from parents to grandchild of same sex through offsprings of opposite sex, that is called criss-cross inheritance. Color blindness is more common in males than in females because the females may be carriers, but males are never carriers. Both husband and wife have normal vision, though their fathers are color blind. What is the probability of their son becoming color blind? Since husband is normal, the genotype XY, wife is normal, but her father is color blind. So, genotype of wife is XCX, the wife is the carrier, hence the chance is 50%. Now, we shall discuss some genetic disorders, thalassemia, Down syndrome, Turner syndrome and Klinefelter syndrome. First, we shall discuss the thalassemia, in which our body makes a defective hemoglobin because of mutation in the gene responsible for production of hemoglobin, right. You know, the hemoglobin is the respiratory pigment responsible for transport of respiratory gases. Due to deficiency of hemoglobin, there is a deficiency of oxygen in the tissues, hypoxemia, and due to deficiency of oxygen, there is yellowing of skin and eyes, and also the spleen enlarges, tiredness. These are the common symptoms. Okay. You know, this thalassemia word comes from the Greek word thalassa, means sea, because this disease was first observed in the populations near the Mediterranean Sea. We know the hemoglobin of our body is made up of heme and globin. Heme is the iron part and protein is the globin part. The globin protein contains 4 polypeptide chains, 2 alpha chains and 2 beta chains. The gene HbA1 and HbA2 located on chromosome 16 are responsible for production of alpha chains, and the gene HbB located on chromosome 11 responsible for production of beta chains. The gene HbA1 and HbA2 are present 2 copies of each, and gene HbB present in 2 copies. Okay. If there is mutation in the gene HbA1 or gene HBA2, then the body fails to produce alpha chain, and that is called alpha thalassemia. And when there is mutation in the gene HBB and body fails to produce beta chain, that is called beta thalassemia. If the offspring inherits only one mutated gene, that is heterozygous condition called thalassemia minor with mild symptoms, but the most severest type is thalassemia major, in which the offspring receives 2 copies of mutated genes. This is also known as Cooley's anemia. Then we shall discuss the next genetic disorder, that is Down syndrome, which was discovered by John Langdon Down. It is the most commonest type of chromosomal disorder which occurs due to trisomy of the 21st chromosome. In case of normal human being, the diploid number of chromosome is 46, but when a person suffering from Down syndrome, the chromosome number becomes 47. Okay? You just see on the slide, there is trisomy of the 21st chromosome. Then what are the possible causes? You see, due to non-disjunction of 21st chromosome during gamete formation, defective sperm or ovum are produced. If the offspring receives 2 copies of 21st chromosome from mother through ovum and 1 copy of 21st chromosome from father through sperm, then it causes 21st trisomy. Another possible case is there when the offspring receives 2 copies of 21st chromosome from father through sperm and 1 copy of 21st chromosome from mother to ovum. It also causes 21st trisomy. But usually the baby receives 2 copies of 21st chromosome from mother through ovum. Okay? Women after 45, means the women above 45 years are more likely to produce baby with Down syndrome. Okay? The person suffering from Down syndrome resembles with Mongolians, hence known as Mongolian idiocy. Now, what are different symptoms of Down syndrome? First, the short stature, that means the restricted growth, height is below average, flattened facial features, a small nose with wide nostrils, epicanthal eye fold is there, means a fold of skin of upper eyelid that covers the inner corner of the eye, and long protruding tongue, hyperflexibility of joints, gonads are underdeveloped, mental retardation and poor IQ are the symptoms of Down syndrome. Okay? Now, we shall discuss the next chromosomal disorder, that is Turner syndrome, which was discovered by Henry Turner. It is because of monosomy of sex chromosome. The female suffering from Turner syndrome carries only 1 X chromosome. Hence, the genotype of the Turner syndrome, normal female 2 X chromosomes, Turner syndrome 1 X chromosome. Hence, the genotype of the female suffering from Turner syndrome is represented as 44 plus X0. You see on the slide, on the 23rd pair, only 1 X chromosome is there, another X chromosome is missing. How can it possible? You see, there is problem during gamete formation. Suppose the father produces sperm, one carries 22 plus XY, other carries 22, and mother produces ovum, each carries genotype 22 plus X. If the offspring receives 22 plus X from mother through ovum and only 22 autosomes from father through sperm, it results Turner syndrome, that is 44 plus X0. Okay? Another possible cause is if the sperm with genotype 22 plus X fertilizes the ovum with 22 autosomes only, no sex chromosome is there, then the resulting individual is also suffered from Turner syndrome, that is 44 plus X0. Now let us discuss what are different symptoms of Turner syndrome. Short stature than average, that means the restricted growth is there because of deficiency of one X chromosome. Ovaries are non-functional, breast is rudimentary, wide neck with extra skin, broad chest with widely spaced nipples, swelling of hands and feet, low or indistinct hairline are the common features of persons suffering from Turner syndrome. Normally, the somatic cell of a female carries one bar body due to presence of two X chromosomes, but the female suffering from Turner syndrome does not contain any bar body. Right? Any doubt? Then we shall discuss the Klinefelter syndrome, which is named after Harry Klinefelter. It is because of presence of an extra sex chromosome, or it is because of trisomy of the sex chromosome. So what are the possible causes of Klinefelter syndrome? It is because of defect during gamete formation. You know, during meiosis I, the reduction division occurs. During that reduction division, the diploid cell becomes two haploid cells with equal distribution of number of chromosomes. Okay? But here what happens actually, if the mother produces two types of ova, 22 plus XX, and the polar body contains only 22 chromosomes, and the sperm contains chromosome 22 plus Y, fertilizes that ovum, the resulting offspring is 44 plus XXY, suffering from Klinefelter syndrome. If the sperm with genotype 22 plus XY fertilizes the ovum with genotype 22 plus X, then the baby will suffer from Klinefelter syndrome with genotype 44 plus XXY. Normally, the males do not have bar body, but when a male is suffered from Klinefelter syndrome, it shows bar body due to presence of two X chromosomes. Right? What are different symptoms of Klinefelter syndrome? The first, incomplete puberty, enlarged breast due to presence of two X chromosomes. That condition is gynecomastia condition. Many times question comes, the gynecomastia is a symptom of which syndrome? Answer is Klinefelter syndrome. Testicles are small in size, testes are rudimentary. The secondary sexual characters like development of mustache and beard, development of pubic hairs, development of hairs under arm are not properly developed. Reduced facial hair and body hair due to deficiency of sex hormone. The voice becomes feminine and the individual is sterile in nature. There is poor development of muscles, and some affected individuals also have undescended testes, means the testes fail to descend down into the scrotal sac. The testes permanently remain in the abdomen, and you know that abdominal temperature is not ideal to carry out spermatogenesis, hence that individual is sterile in nature. So the person suffering from Klinefelter syndrome is sterile male. Right? Now let us do some exercise. Down syndrome is due to trisomy of which chromosome? Down syndrome is due to trisomy of 21st chromosome. Right? Any doubt? Dash syndrome is also known as Mongolism. The Down syndrome is also called Mongolian idiocy or the Mongolism. Chromosome number of individual with Down syndrome is, what is the chromosome number of individuals suffering from Down syndrome? Yes, because of 21st trisomy, the chromosome number is no doubt 47. Okay? Epicanthal fold, eye fold is the symptom of person suffering from Down syndrome. The Turner syndrome is represented by genotype. You know, Turner syndrome means 44 plus X 0. Turner syndrome is due to monosomy of which chromosome? Monosomy of sex chromosome. Okay? Next, Klinefelter syndrome is represented by genotype 44 plus XXY. As I have discussed, the gynecomastia condition is seen in person suffering from Klinefelter syndrome. Now, let us discuss the pedigree analysis. You know, the Mendelian principle of inheritance is also applicable for human being, but it is very difficult to study because of various reasons. Because of long lifespan of human being, it is not possible to study inheritance of the trait for many generations. In case of human being, the progenies are comparatively smaller in size, so it is very difficult to detect the trait at their early age. And also the environment has a huge impact on the human trait. So, how can we know whether the trait is dominant or recessive, whether the trait is X-linked or Y-linked or autosomal? We have to depend on pedigree analysis. In the pedigree chart, what we do actually? We make a chart of a family history of inheritance or appearance of a trait for many generations. Let us take an example. In pedigree analysis, the females are shown in circles, the males are shown in square. Parents are connected by marriage line. This is the marriage line. The offsprings are shown in the sibling line present below the marriage line. Offsprings are listed according to order of birth from left to right. Suppose first son, then son, then daughter, then daughter, then son. Right? Marriage of the children is like that of parents, and their offsprings are listed in new sibling line. Suppose son, daughter, daughter. This is the pedigree chart. This is the first generation, second generation, third generation. The affected individuals are darkened. Okay. Now, the analysis of the data is based on principle of probability, elimination of alternatives. We shall discuss whether the trait is dominant or recessive. And second, whether it is Y-linked or X-linked or autosomal. You can say it is not dominant because here in this case you see it is present in the offspring but not found in parents. When the trait is present in the offspring but not in the parents, it is not dominant. You have to consider it as recessive. Okay? Then now whether the trait is Y-linked or X-linked or autosomal. The trait is not Y-linked because you know the Y chromosome is restricted to male sex only. The Y-linked genes are called Hollandric. Y-linked genes are inherited from male to male sex only. but here it is found in females, that is why that is not Y link. Now, two options are left, whether it is X linked or autosomal. It is sure that the trait is recessive. If it is X linked, the trait will be X linked recessive. We can take example of X linked recessive trait, example color blindness. If the daughter is color blind, then the father must be color blind. Mother may be color blind, may be carrier, but father must be color blind. What does it speak? It speaks that if the daughter is affected, then father will be affected. So if it is X linked recessive trait, when daughter is affected, father is affected. But here in this case, the daughter is affected, but father is not affected. So the trait is not X linked recessive trait, hence the trait is autosomal recessive trait. Any doubt? Am I able to explain you clearly at this point of time? Okay, fine. Thank you.